Hi everyone, welcome to the new lesson. And first of all, I'm so sorry for not having posted videos for about 3 weeks now. It's almost been 3 weeks, and I'm so sorry to have kept you worried. Actually, there is a reason why I couldn't upload videos for that many weeks, and I'm planning to do a video on that. So when that video is ready and when I'm ready to share it, I will let you guys know about this. But you don't have to worry about me now. I'm so sorry about having kept you worried. And let's begin with today's lesson. So today we are going to learn the difference between 그래서 and 그러니까. They're both sentence connectors that mean so, I did this, so I did that, like that, so. And they both can be changed into a conjunction, remember? By getting attached to the verb in the previous sentence. And we already learned how to do that with 그래서, right? So with 그래서 first, the reason sentence comes first, right? And then 그래서, so, the result sentence comes next, right? And you can also make this sentence connector into a conjunction by combining 서 with the verb in the previous sentence, right? Because the verb is the last element that comes in Korean sentence. So what you can do is you can put the present stem and then put 서, so it becomes the meaning of this sentence. So this sentence, let's say I ate a lot, so my stomach hurts. You can write it like this. So 많이 was a lot, right? And here, it's a combination of the conjunction 서, which comes from 그래서, right? And then 먹어. And we all know now that 먹어 is the present stem of 먹다, right? Make sure to note that it's not the base stem, but the present stem. So you have to conjugate it in present tense and then put 서. So 많이 먹어서, I ate a lot, so 배가 아파요. 배가 아파요. We learned that 배 means stomach, and 아파요 is an adjective that means sick or something hurts, right? So I ate a lot, so my stomach hurts. And also, you can say 물을 많이 마셔서 물을 많이 마셔서 화장실에 가고 싶어요. How about this sentence? 물을 많이 마셔서 물, we learned this word means water. 물을 a lot 마셔서 present tense 서, right? So this is a present tense of 마시다, which means to drink, and 마시 becomes 마셔 when it turns to a present form. 물을 많이 마셔서 I drank a lot of water, so 화장실에 가고 싶어요. We learned that 고 싶어요 means to want, to do, want to verb. So it's combined, it's an expression that's combined with the verb. So 가 is obviously a stem of 가다, which means to go. So it means to want to go, 가고 싶어요. To, this is a particle that means to, 화장실, bathroom, right? So now it makes sense, right? I drank a lot of water, so I want to go to the bathroom. And let's practice with one more sentence. How about I study a lot, so, or I studied hard, so I feel tired. 공부를 열심히 해서 피곤해요. 공부 공부 means study. So here, some of you might be confused, like why is 공부 treated like a noun? Isn't 공부하다 a verb? So 공부하다 is a verb that means to study, right? But when it comes to verbs that end in 하다, the word before 하다 is always a noun. So 하다 itself means to do. It's a verb that means to do. So there are many verbs that ends in 하다 that's combined with noun. For example, 일하다 itself is a verb that means work, to work. But 일 itself is a noun that means work. I have a lot of work to do, that kind of work. And also, 청소하다 means to clean, like as in like to clean your room. And 청소 here is a noun that means cleaning. And 청소하다, when it's combined with the verb 하다, it means to do cleaning, so it becomes a verb that means to clean. So for that reason, 공부 is it's originally a noun form. But when it's combined with 공부하다, it becomes a verb. So 공부 can itself be treated like a noun. So that's why there is an object marking particle and 공부 is used as an object in this sentence. So 공부를 열심히 해서, 공부를 열심히 해서, 열심히 means to do something hard, to do something like passionately, right? So 공부를 hard 해서, I did. 해 is obviously a present form of 하다, right? To do. So 공부 hard did. So study hard, right? Study hard. 공부를 열심히 해서. So 피곤해요. I feel tired. So you can use it like this. And here, some of you might be confused. Didn't you say I ate a lot and I drank a lot and I studied a lot? So doesn't that make these verbs a past form? But why do you use present form? When it comes to the conjunction 서, whether you mean present tense or past tense in the previous sentence, it always follows the present stem. So for example, 어제 주스를 많이 마셔서 오늘은 조금만 마실 거예요. You having drunk juice a lot yesterday happened in the past, right? But still, if you're using it with the conjunction 서, you shouldn't conjugate it in a past tense. You should just follow the rule of combining it with the present stem. So it's not 마셨어서. It doesn't make sense. This is grammatically wrong. It's 마셔서. 지수는 평소에 물을 많이 마셔서 피부가 좋아요. Here, the sentence is in present tense, right? She usually drinks a lot of water, so it's in present tense. And 서 is followed with the present stem. So whether you mean past tense or present tense, when using 서 conjunction, the preceding verb should always be in the present stem form. Then how about 그러니까? So the structure is the same, like how it's used is same with 그래서. So basically, reason sentence comes first and 그러니까, result sentence. And 그러니까 can also be turned into a conjunction by getting attached with the verb and then changing its form to 니까 or 으니까. And how you can do it is you take out the base stem. This time it's different from 그래서. I mean 서 conjunction was supposed to be combined with the present form stem, right? But 니까 or 으니까 should be combined with the base stem. So this is something that you have to note. So when the base stem has 받침, you put 으니까. And when the base stem doesn't end in 받침, you put just 니까. And then the result sentence. So let's try changing 많이 먹어서, 물을 많이 마셔서, and 공부를 열심히 해서 into 니까. 많이, a lot, 먹 is the stem, right? So you just put 먹, and this one has 받침, right? So it becomes 먹으니까, 많이 먹으니까. And 물을 많이 마시, right? Because it comes from the verb 마시다, base stem, 마시. This time, just put 니까 because 시 doesn't end in 받침, 마시니까. And 공부를 열심히 right? Because it comes from 하다 verb, so you just take out the stem and change it to 니까. So that's how it can be changed into 으니까 or 니까 form. And just one more thing, guys. So unlike the conjunction 서, if the sentence that comes before it, 니까, is in past tense, then 니까 can be combined with the past tense. So 먹었으니까, 마셨으니까, 했으니까 are all possible. But in this lesson, so as not to confuse you guys, we're mostly going to stick with the present tense. So if the preceding sentence, the reason sentence, is in present tense, and you want to combine it with the conjunction 니까, then you take the base stem and then put 니까. This time it's base stem, unlike 서, right? So 서 is combined with the present verb stem, whereas 니까 is combined with the base stem. And if the base stem has 받침, you should put extra 으. Or if the stem doesn't end in 받침, you can just put 니까. So that's the difference in grammar, in how in grammar rule. Then how about in meaning? I told you guys that they both mean so. So does that mean they are interchangeable? And the answer is yes and no, because there are some cases where they are interchangeable, and there are cases where using 서 sounds more natural and using 니까 sounds more natural. So this is a part where it can get a little bit confusing, so I want you guys to focus more. So let's look at 서 first. So when you are talking about like a certain reason in general, in a plain sentence, using 서 sounds more natural than 니까. So in the sentences that we just did, I ate a lot, so my stomach hurts, and I drank a lot of water, so I want to go to the bathroom, and I studied hard, so I feel tired. These are the general reason in a plain sentence, right? So this is just a general reason explaining the cause and the result, right? So in sentences like these three, using 서 is a lot more natural than 니까. However, it is not entirely wrong if you replace 서 with 니까 and say 많이 먹으니까 배가 아파요. 물을 많이 마시니까 화장실에 가고 싶어요. 공부를 열심히 하니까 피곤해요. It's not entirely wrong in the context where the speaker is already aware, or sorry, not speaker. When the listener, sorry about that, guys. In the context where the listener is already aware of what's stated as a reason. So let's look at this one. So when you say 많이 먹으니까 배가 아파요, with 니까, it implies that the listener already know that I ate a lot. So 많이 먹으니까, I ate a lot, as you know. So 배가 아파요, my stomach hurts. And 많이 마시니까, I drank a lot. So I drank a lot, as you know. This is something that you know, the listener knows. So I want to go to the bathroom. So the result is something that the listener doesn't know yet, but the reason is something that the listener knows. In that case, you can use 니까. But it doesn't mean that in this context, only 니까 can be used. Actually, in this case, I would say it's more interchangeable. So it's okay to use both 니까 or 서 if it's in the context where the listener is already aware of what's stated as a reason. And let's also look at other differences. So when stating the reason for the emotions like 고맙다, thankful, 감사하다, also thankful, 미안하다, to be sorry, and 반갑다, to be delighted. So for example, 만나서 반가워요. This is the common expression in Korean that I'm pretty sure we learned, right? 만나서 반가워요 means nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So 반가워요, I'm delighted to meet you. 만나 is a present verb of 만나다, to meet. So 만나서 반가워요. 만나, to have met, to meet, is the reason for being delighted, right? So for the reason, so when you're stating a reason for 반가워요, it's much natural to go with 서. When you say 만나니까 반가워요, to me, nice to meet you, it sounds quite awkward. It doesn't sound right. So 만나서 반가워요 sounds more natural. And also, when you want to thank a person for a specific reason, it's much more natural to go with 서. So 일찍 와주셔서 감사합니다. 일찍 is a verb, adverb that means early. And 와주셔서, so this is a verb that we have to learn in a separate video, but it's basically a present stem of the verb 와주시다, which means to come. A polite way to say come. So it means early come, so thank you. 일찍 와주셔서 감사합니다. If you say 일찍 와주시니까 감사합니다, it's gonna sound a little bit off, like it's gonna sound weird. So in this case, go with 서. And also when you're saying sorry, and when you're stating the reason for you being sorry, it's also more natural to go with 서. 늦어서 죄송합니다. 늦다 means to be late. And 늦어 is a present form of 늦다. So 늦어서, late, so I'm late, so I'm sorry. 늦어서 죄송합니다. And it doesn't sound right to say 늦으니까 죄송합니다. In emotions like 반가워요, 감사합니다, 죄송합니다, these basic emotions, it's much better. It's right to state the reason for your emotion with 서. Let's take a short little quiz here. 엄마가 안 와서 슬퍼, or 안 오니까 슬퍼. First of all, 엄마 means mom, and 슬퍼 means to be sad, right? Not to be sad, it's a present verb of 슬프다, so it means sad. 엄마가 안 와서, 안 오니까. We can know that it comes from the verb 오다, which means to come, right? So 와주시다 and 오다 both mean come, but they have a very different nuance, and this sounds way more politer, and it sounds like doing someone a favor of coming. So these two mean the same thing, but they are different verbs, just in case you're confused. And 안 is a negation, right? You put 안 before a verb when you negate a verb. So 안 오다 means to not come, right? So 안 와서 or 안 오니까 슬퍼. So it basically is trying to say mom is not coming, so I'm sad, right? Then what do you think would be the right conjunction? 서 or 니까? It actually depends on cases. So when someone asks you, why are you sad? Then that person who asked that question doesn't know the reason, right? So in that case, 엄마가 안 오니까, using 엄마가 안 오니까 would not be right, because 니까 is usually used in context where the listener is already aware of the reason, but the listener doesn't know the reason. So in that case, using 안 와서 sounds more natural. 엄마가 안 와서 슬퍼. So you're stating the general reason of you being sad, right? When the listener doesn't know that reason. So in that case, it's much more natural to go with 서. But when both the speaker and the listener are aware of the fact and the reason, then you can say 안 오니까 슬퍼. So let's say a friend asks, 엄마, 아직도 안 오셨어? 엄마, 아직도 안 오셨어? So this sentence means, so your mom hasn't come yet? And then in this case, you can say, 응, yes. And by saying yes, both the listener and the speaker are aware of the fact that mom didn't come, right? So in this case, 엄마가 안 오니까 슬퍼. In this case, using 니까 sounds natural because in this context, both A and B are aware of the fact that B's mom isn't coming yet, right? 엄마가 안 오니까 슬퍼. And like we learned, it can also be replaced with 안 와서. Because in context where both the listener and the speaker is aware of the reason, 니까, both 니까 and 서 can be used. They are interchangeable, right? But when you are speaking about the general reason that the other person not likely know already, then you can go with 서. I hope you are getting the difference by now. So yes, when you're stating the general reason or the reason for emotion verbs like 고맙다, 감사하다, 미안하다, 반갑다, then you can go with 서. And with 니까, it can be interchangeably used with 서 in the context where the listener is already aware of what's stated as a reason. And there is also the case, this is actually very important, because in this case, only 니까, not 서, only 니까 should be used. Only 니까. And that's when the next sentence is in imperative mood. So this is a grammatical term that refers to a sentence that's making like suggestion, advice, recommendation, or commanding other people to do something. So sentences like, let's do it, or do it, or why don't we do it? These are the sentences in imperative mood. So when the sentence that comes after is in imperative mood, you should always go with 니까, not 서. Always 니까. So in sentences like this, 니까 should be used. So let's look at the sentences one by one. 밖에 비 오니까 우산을 가져가. 밖에 비 오니까 우산을 가져가. So let's look at the sentence that comes after 니까 first. So 우산을 가져가. 우산 means an umbrella. Sorry about that. Umbrella. And 가져가다 means to. So there's a difference between 가져오다. So 가다 means to go and 오다 means to come, right? 가져가다 means to take it. So have it and then go. So it means to take. And 가져오다 means to have it and then come. So it means to bring. But here, 가져가 is used, so it means to take. So take an umbrella. So this is obviously in a sentence in imperative mood, right? It's making like a command to the listener to take an umbrella. So in this case, you have to put 니까 for the reason. So 밖에, 밖 means outside, and it's a noun. 밖에 particle in the outside, so it means outside. Outside 비 오니까 오다 obviously comes from 오다, right? To come. So when you say 비 means rain. So 비 오다 means rain is coming, so it's raining. So in English, rain can both mean noun and verb, but in Korean, 비 just means the noun rain. And when you want to say the rain is falling or it's raining, you should go with the verb 오다. The rain is coming. The rain is falling. So it's raining outside. 밖에 비 오니까 우산을 가져가. It's raining outside, so take your umbrella. And also, if you look at the sentence here, so I put it in both 존댓말 and 반말 to let you guys know that in both 존댓말 and 반말 니까 can be used. It doesn't matter. So 조용히 하세요. So 조용하다, it comes from 조용하다, which means to be quiet. And 조용히 is obviously an adverb. So it means quietly do. So it means be quiet. 조용히 하세요. We learned that this is by putting 세요 after a verb, you're politely asking someone to do the verb, right? So 조용히 하세요 means please be quiet. And it is in imperative mood, right? Because you are asking the other person to be quiet. So in this case, using 니까 is correct. So 손님이 계시니까 조용히 하세요 or 조용히 해. 손님 means a customer. 계시. Do you guys remember this honorific verb? It comes from 계시다, which means stay. And this is an honorific form of the verb 있다. Do you guys remember? So 손님이 계시니까. So by using the verb 계시다, the speaker is showing respect to the customer. So the customer is here. 손님이 계시니까 조용히 하세요. Be quiet. This is the meaning of this sentence. And let's look at two more sentences. 심심하니까 게임할래요? So when you say a verb and then 리을 받침 or 을, 래, it's a suggestion. So 게임할래요 means, so game is game. 하 comes from 하다, do, right? So 게임할래요? Wanna do a game? Would you like to do a game? So that's also in imperative mood because it's suggesting that we play a game, right? 심심하니까. So 심심하다 is also a good adjective, frequently used adjective that you can take note of. So 심심하다 means to be bored. And 지루하다, some of you might be confused with this adjective if you already know this. 심심하다 means to be bored, like I am bored or a person is bored. But a thing cannot be 심심해. A thing cannot be bored, right? Only a person can feel bored. But 지루하다 means something is boring. So 지루하다 means boring and 심심하다 means to feel bored. So 심심하니까 게임할래요 means we're bored or I am bored. So do you want to play a game? 게임할래요? The next one. 사람이 없으니까 그냥 갈까? 그냥 means just. Let's just. Shall we? We learned this form in how to ask a question in Korean video, right? So this is also a suggestion, kind of like 을래. So just 가다, go. Shall we? So shall we just go? And the reason is 사람, person, right? Person. 사람이 없으니까. This time, 으니까 is used because up has 받침, and up is obviously a stem of 없다, which means there isn't or do not have, right? But here it means there isn't. 없으니까, 사람이 없으니까, there is no one. There is no person here. 사람이 없으니까, there's no one. Just go. Shall we just go? 그냥 갈까? So here, in sentences when the sentence that comes after the conjunction is in imperative mood, you have to put 니까 conjunction, not 서 conjunction. So these are the major differences in usage between 서 and 니까. And there is actually one more difference that I would like to add. So when you watch like Korean dramas or when you listen to K-pop songs, you will hear a lot of 니까, and you will wonder, why is 니까 used here? I think that person is talking about the general reason, so shouldn't 서 be used here? So you might have questions on that. So I prepared one more difference. So 니까 can be used instead of 서 when you are trying to emphasize the reason. You're trying to emphasize the reason. So when someone asks, 왜 울어요? 왜 안 자요? 왜 날 따라와요? We're gonna go over the meaning of these questions. But for now, these all have 왜 question word in it, right? It's asking why. So it's asking for a general reason, right? So it's normally it's better to safely go with 서. But when you're trying to emphasize the reason, you can also go with 니까. It's also okay to go with 니까. So 왜 울어요? When someone asks you 왜 울어요, you can just safely say 슬퍼서 울어요. 슬퍼서 울어요. I cry because I'm 슬퍼. I'm sad, right? But when someone responds 슬프니까 울어요, this is not entirely wrong when the speaker is trying to emphasize the reason of being sad. 슬프니까 울어요. And also, 왜 안 자요? 자 comes from 자다, which means to sleep. And 안 is a negation of the verb we learned, right? So 왜 안 자요? Why not sleep? Why are you not sleeping? 왜 안 자요? And you can say, because I'm not sleepy. 잠이 안 와서요. So normally we answer it like this. 잠이 안 와서요. 잠 is, so 자다 is a verb that means to sleep, and 잠 is a noun that means to sleep. So 잠이 안 와서요 means, can you guess what it means? I just told you guys it means I'm not sleepy, but when you kind of break it down, it's kind of interesting. So 오다 means to come, we learn, right? And 안 오다 means to not come. So 안 와 means sleep is not coming. 잠이 안 와서요. 잠이 안 와서요. So we say 잠이 안 와 when we want to say we're not sleepy. Sleep is not coming to me. So this is an interesting expression that you can remember. 잠이 안 와서요. So this is a general reason. So you can just safely go with 서. Normally, it's correct to go with 서. But when you kind of want to empathize the fact that you're not sleepy, you can say 잠이 안 오니까요. 잠이 안 오니까요. And also, 왜 날 따라와요? 날 is a abbreviated form of 나를. So 왜 나를 따라와요? 따라와요. So 따라오다 and 따라가다 also mean different things. So 따라오다 means to follow someone. 따라오다. And 따라가다 also means to follow someone, but 오다 means to come, and 가다 means to go. So 따라오다 can be used when you are talking about someone following you, right? Because in your shoes, that person is coming to you, following and coming to you. And when you say a person is following the other person, so in your shoes, that person is going, following and going to the other person, right? So both mean follow, but when you want to say someone follows me, you can say 따라오다, because that person who's following you is coming towards you, right? But when you're saying a certain person is following the other person, not you, the other person, then you can use 가다. because that person is following the other person and that person is going to the other person. It's not coming to your direction but to the other direction, the direction of the other person, right? So yes, both mean follow. 왜 나를 따라와요? Why are you following me? Why do you follow me? So here you can say because I love you. 사랑해서요. Because I love you. 사랑해서요. But when you want to empathize the fact that you love that person, you can say 사랑하니까요. 사랑하니까요. So 니까 in these cases doesn't necessarily mean the other person is already aware of the reason, but it's more the emphasizing of the reason. And in this clip as well,
전 총리님 옆을 절대 떠나지 않을 거예요. 제가 총리님 사랑하니까요.
and here in this clip as well, the man didn't know that the girl loved him, but the girl still used 니까. And it's because she is trying to empathize the reason. So in those cases, 니까 can also be used. However, in like normal conversations, I suggest you just safely go with 서 when you're stating the general reason and not 니까. Because I think it does sound a little bit drama-like. And also, this is the lyric of the song DNA from BTS. And you will see a lot of 니까 here. 니까, 니까, and 니까, 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 니까. So many 니까 here, right? If it was like a normal conversation, it's much better to use 서. But here in the lyrics, it's more like empathizing the reason. So in these cases, 니까 can be used, but like I told you guys, in normal conversation, when you're talking about the general reason, just safely go with 서. And also when you're stating the reason for emotion verbs like 미안하다, 감사하다, 반갑다, you can also use 서. And 니까 can be interchangeably used with 서 for general reason when the listener is already aware of what's stated as a reason, right? In these cases, it's interchangeably used. And also, there is a case where only 니까 sounds natural, and that's when the next sentence is in imperative mood. 할까? 할래? 하자. 해주세요. 하세요. 해. Like these kinds of sentences. Okay, so that's what you need to know about 서 and 니까. And let's practice a bit more with example sentences and dialogues. So let's first look at this dialogue and then move on to the second one. So mom says, 청소해, 청소해. We just learned that 청소하다 means to clean, right? So 청소해 means clean. Hey, you, clean. And Jeff says, 엄마가 자꾸 잔소리하니까 하기 싫어. 엄마가 자꾸 잔소리하니까 하기 싫어. Here, 니까 is used, right? 엄마가 자꾸 is an adverb that means like constantly. 잔소리하다. We also learned this in one of our lessons, live classes, I think. 잔소리 means nagging. It's a noun, 잔소리. And 잔소리하다 means to nag. So we learned that 소리 means sound, and 잔, it's an adjective that means miscellaneous. So it means miscellaneous sound. So it's like, so it means nag. 잔소리하니까 엄마가, mom, constantly nag. 니까, so, 하기 싫어. When you say stem of the verb and 기 싫어, it means I don't like to do verb. 싫어. I don't like 하다. So 하 comes from 하다, which means to do. So here Jeff means 하다 as in 청소하다, right? He doesn't want to clean. And the reason for that is mom 자꾸 잔소리하니까. Mom constantly nags. And here 니까 is used because both mom and Jeff know that mom is constantly nagging to Jeff, right? So here in this context, 니까 is okay. And as we learned, it's also okay to say 잔소리 해서. They are interchangeable when in the context of the other person already knowing what's stated in the reason. And how about the second one? A person asks, 요즘, recently, 요즘, 기분이 안 좋으세요? 기분이 안 좋으세요? We learn 기분 means mood, feeling. 기분이 안 좋으세요? Polite form combined with from 좋다, which means good. And by putting 안, it becomes not good. So recently, your mood is not good. So are you recently feeling unwell? 요즘 기분이 안 좋으세요? And Jeff says, 엄마가 자꾸 잔소리해서 스트레스 받아요. Here, instead of 하니까, 해서 is used. And this is because Jeff is stating the general reason of him not feeling well. And this reason is something that the other person does not know, right? So 니까 is wrong here, and 해서 is a more correct one. So 엄마가 자꾸 잔소리, mom constantly nags, so 스트레스 받아요. So 스트레스 is a Konglish word for stress, and 받아요 we learned is a present form of 받다, which means to receive, to get. So I get stress because my mom constantly nags. 엄마가 자꾸 잔소리해서 스트레스 받아요. My mom constantly nags, so I get a lot of stress. That's the meaning. So that is how 니까 and 해서 can be used in different contexts, right? And let's move on to the third example. Person A asks, why? 늦었어요? 왜 늦었어요? Why were you late? Why are you late? 늦었어요? 차가 막혀서 늦었어요. 차가 막히니까 늦었어요. So 막히다. Okay, so let's first look at 막다, this verb. So 막다 is a verb that means to block. But 막히다 is a passive form, so it means get blocked. So when we say 차가 막히다, this is also a phrase that you would like to remember. 차가 막히다 means the car got blocked. So this means there is a traffic congestion. 차가 막히다. So 차가 막혀서 means there was a traffic congestion. So 늦었어요. I'm late. 차가 막혀서 늦었어요. So this is the right one because person B is talking about the general reason for him being late, right? But when you say 차가 막히니까 늦었어요, this is not a good way to say it, and oftentimes it can sound a bit rude because it kind of sounds like person B is demanding that A already know the reason of there being a traffic congestion. But A is asking B because she has no idea why he's late, right? So in this case, you have to go with the general reason, and that's why 서 sounds more natural and safe. But in these kinds of contexts, 니까 can be used. So 오늘 차가 많이 막혔어요. 그렇죠. 오늘, today, 차가 막혔어요. The traffic got blocked. So the car got blocked. So there was a traffic congestion, right? This is the past form, as you can see. 많이, a lot, right? So there was a big traffic congestion. 그렇죠, right? 네, 맞아요, right? 네, yes, you're right. So in this case, both A and B are aware of the fact that there was a traffic congestion today, right? So in this context, you can say 차가 막히니까 there was a traffic congestion. This is something you and I both know. So 차가 막히니까 회의에 늦었어요. So when you say like a specific event or place에 늦다, 이벤트에 늦다. It means you're late for that event. So 회의 here means meeting, like an official meeting in a company or at work. So there was a traffic congestion, so I was late for meeting. 회의에 늦었어요. So in this case, 니까, 차가 막히니까 can be used, but when you are stating the general reason for something, then you can go with 서. Okay, so to practice more, I brought some quiz here. So let's look at this dialogue. So this is a dialogue between Jeff, 제프, and Andy. Jeff and Andy. So Jeff says, 축구하자. 축구 means football or soccer. So 축구하자. Let's do soccer. So when we say let's play soccer in Korea, we instead say let's do soccer. 축구하자. Let's play soccer. 난 축구 못하니까 안 해. So 안 해. We all know. I'm not do. So I'm not gonna do it. 안 해. I won't do it. 난 축구 못하니까. 난 I 축구 못하니까. So this is the reason for him not playing soccer. So we learned that 못 is also a negation of the verb, but it more implies the inability, right? Disability to do something. So 못해 doesn't mean don't do, but it more means can't do, or I'm not good at something. So 난 축구 못하니까 means I'm not good at soccer. I can't play soccer. I'm not good at soccer. So I won't play. 난 축구 못하니까 안 해. And here, 니까 is used because Andy not being good at soccer is probably something that both Jeff and Andy knows, right? And Jeff says, 어제 많이 연습했으니까 잘할 거야. 어제, yesterday, 많이, a lot, 연습했으니까, 연습했 is obviously a past form, right? And 연습하다 means to practice. 연습하다. In Chinese, it's 练习. It kind of sounds similar. 연습하다. 어제 많이 연습했. Practiced. Yesterday, practiced a lot. You practiced a lot. So, 그러니까 잘 할 거야. 잘 means well. 할 거야 means will do, right? It's a combination of 하 from 하다 and 리을 받침 거야, which is a future form, right? Will do. So you will do well. You practiced a lot yesterday, so you will do well. And this is also the fact that both Andy and Jeff know. Andy having practiced a lot, so here, 니까 is used. And Andy says, 알겠어. Okay, alright. 알겠어. 근데, however, but, 어차피. This is also a good expression that you can remember. It means anyways or either way. However, either way or anyways, 밖에 비 와서 지금은 못해. 밖에 비 와서, we learned what this means, right? 밖에, outside, 비 와서, raining. Outside, it's raining. So, 지금은, for now, as of right now, 지금, now, as of right now, 못해. We can't do it. We can't play it. 알겠어, alright. 근데, but, it's raining outside anyways. 어차피 밖에 비 와서, so, 지금은 못해. Right now, we can't do it. 지금은 못해. So here, 서 is used because he is stating the general reason of them not being able to play right now. And this is something that Jeff might not be aware of. So instead of 오니까, 와서 is used. And how about this one? Can you try to choose which one is correct in this sentence? 좋으니까 or 좋아서? we know where 조 comes from, right? It comes from 좋다, which means to be good. And 날씨 means weather. So 내일은 as for tomorrow, whether 좋으니까 or 좋아서. 내일 하자. Tomorrow let's do. Tomorrow let's play. Let's play tomorrow. Let's play tomorrow is an imperative mood, right? It's an imperative mood. So in this case, we learned it always goes with 니까 conjunction, not 서. So that's why here 좋으니까 is the correct one. 내일은 날씨 좋으니까 내일 하자. Tomorrow, the weather is good, so let's play tomorrow. 속상하니까 or 속상해서 저한테 말 걸지 마세요. Which one is the correct one? To choose the correct answer, we have to look at the following sentence first. So here we can see that the sentence ends in 세요. 마세요. 마세요. Stem verb 지마 or 지 마세요 in 존댓말 form means don't verb. So it's politely asking the other person to not do something, right? So it's in imperative mood. So just by looking at the ending of the sentence, we can know right away that we should use 니까 form. And let's break down the sentence first. So 속상하다, this is an adjective that we learned, right? Emotion adjective. 속상하다 means like it's kind of an emotion that's a mixture of being upset and hurt, things like that. So 속상하다, 속상하니까 I'm upset, I'm hurt. So 저한테 말 걸지 마세요. 저한테 말 걸지 마세요. I think we can guess what this means from this noun, 말, which means, which is a noun that means like talk or speech or anything that's related to verbal speech, right? So 저한테, to me, 저한테 말 걸지 마세요. Don't 걸다 말 to me. So what does 걸 from 걸다 mean? So 걸다 is a verb that means a lot of things, but when it's used with the noun 말, and you say 말을 걸다 or 말 걸다, it means to try and talk to someone, like initiating a conversation. It kind of means that, to initiate a conversation, 말 걸다. So 저한테 말 걸지 마세요 means don't talk to me because I feel upset. 속상하니까 저한테 말 걸지 마세요. Don't talk to me. I mean, I am upset. So to me, don't try to initiate a conversation. Don't talk to me, please. 속상하니까 저한테 말 걸지 마세요. And I brought this last one just to make sure that we all understand that when you're saying a general reason, you can always safely go with 서 conjunction, not 니까 conjunction. So here, person A asks, 병원에 to hospital. 왜 갔어요? Why went? So why did you go to the hospital? 병원에 왜 갔어요? And here, she's asking a reason for you going to the hospital, the general reason, right? So in this case, you can say 아파서요, because I was sick, not 아프니까요. So 아파서 병원에 갔어요 and 아프니까 병원에 갔어요 both mean the same thing, but this one is a lot more frequently used when you're talking about a general reason for your action or for the result sentence. And 아프니까 병원에 갔어요 can be used in a context where both the listener and both I know the fact that I am sick or somebody else is sick. 아프니까 병원에 갔어요. So for example, 어제 아파서 연락을 못했어요. 죄송해요. I'm sorry. 어제, yesterday, 아파서 I was sick, so 연락을 못했어요. I couldn't keep in touch. I'm sorry. So you're talking about the general reason you not being able to keep in touch with the listener, right? But here in this context, 니까 is used because person A asks, 제프 씨가 지금 많이 아프죠? 제프 씨가 Mr. Jeff now 지금 많이 아프죠? A lot sick, 죠, right? So we also learned this sentence ending or question ending in how to ask question in Korean video. So it's an affirmation. It's an expression. It's a question of affirmation and confirmation, right? So it's like 아프죠 means like he is sick, right? So 제프 씨가 지금 많이 아프죠? Jeff is very sick right now, right? Is the meaning of the sentence. And B says, 맞아요. Yes, you're right. 맞아요. 아프니까 밥도 안 먹어요. 아프니까. So here, 니까 can be used because Jeff being sick is something that both A and B know, right? 아프니까 밥도 안 먹어요. Not eat. 밥, meal. 도 is a particle that we haven't learned in depth, but it means even or two. So even meal, not eat. So he doesn't even eat. 아프니까 밥도 안 먹어요. He's sick, so he doesn't even eat. Is the meaning of this sentence. Okay, so we just finished learning the difference between 서 and 니까. It can be pretty confusing at first, but keep practicing. 계속 연습하세요. 자꾸 연습하세요. 그러면 then you will slowly get the hang of it. Okay, so that's it for today's lesson. And once again, guys, I am very sorry for not having posting anything on YouTube for a few weeks without any explanation. But when the video that I told you guys about at the beginning of this video is ready, and when I'm ready to talk about it, I will talk about that with you guys in that video. So thank you so much, guys, for studying with me, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye bye. 안녕.